Welcome, Mage. I'm Rhino, and today we're gonna be trying to figure out how to protect your commander.
So last week we did a video, which was a really cool video on how to immobilize problematic commanders. Now, if you happen to have a commander that people like to target a lot, well, then you might want to be able to protect your commander. So we are going to look at ways of protecting the commander, and mainly just the commander. These cards will work for other creatures. Uh, and we really don't want temporary effects. We don't want to do any blinking or things like that. But currently, as we're recording this, there are 2,249 legendary creatures. And out of that, how many have hexproof on them already?
6.
And how many have shroud on them already?
3.
Three. Yes. So out of 2,249 creatures, 9 of them are already protected. Uh, Now you may be wondering about hexproof, and actually, I got a story for you about hexproof because when Rhino was really young, he was about 10 or so. He was really getting into magic and doing this content, and we'd done how-to videos on the various uh, you know keyword abilities and such. And at one of the Friday Night Magics, he got into a discussion, not necessarily a heated discussion. It was a very lively, energetic discussion, uh, where this older individual was trying to tell this 10-year-old how to play magic properly and how hexproof worked. Now, this person, uh, in the game that they were playing, Rhino had cast, I believe, dead weight on a large creature to make it really a lot smaller. Yeah, because it's a -2/-2, I believe.
Yeah.
And then the next turn, the guy had done Blossoming Defense, if I remember correctly, which gave it hexproof, and said, well, that enchantment falls off because it's now hexproof.
Nope.
And Rhino was like, no, that's not the way it works. You know, you can make it hexproof at the moment, but it still has the enchantment on it. Rhino's going through and trying to explain to this guy how this works, and he's like, no, this is the way it's been forever. I'm older than you. I know better than you. And Rhino calls over the judge that is teaching him to be another judge. So the one that has been schooling him on it, and the judge looks at it and like, no, he's right. So uh, the guy was just one of those. He's like, no, that's not the way it works. It's like, no, that's the way it works. So Rhino got a little bit more respect at that point. And about, I think it was the next year, he took the judge test. He became a level 1 judge, and did a couple of events. And yeah, it was, I mean, he was like 11, 12 at that age. And it was kind of strange when he goes up and he's running the event and is like, yeah, I'm the judge.
Like,
And
no. No. I wouldn't.
so that was a fun bit of time. Rhino's not technically a judge right now because, well, we ended up traveling and it was hard to keep up the judge requirements while we were doing that, so we never went back to doing that. But
Anyways.
anyways, let's get into how to protect your commander. Now, there are two that everyone knows about, and the first one that comes up is
Lightning Greaves.
Lightning Greaves. Yes, this one is probably the best one, but we're not going to necessarily suggest this. We want to give you some other ways of doing it, but we want to make sure you know how this works. Now, Lightning Greaves right now are what, about $5 a piece. if you wanted to buy them for your commander deck. Not really budget friendly. But when a commander deck comes out, a precon comes out that has them in it, they drop down to like $2. Buy them up, because that's what we do. So, what does Lightning Greaves do?
It gives it haste and shroud.
Okay.
So shroud, yeah,
So, how's Shroud different than Hexproof?
you can't touch this.
And I can't touch it, and nobody can touch it. Nobody can target it for anything at all. So that's the problem with Shroud. It's also the good thing about Shroud. Hexproof is, in many respects, a lot better because it's just your opponents can't target it. But it's a 2-drop, 0 equip, so you can move it around. You see them in almost every deck, every high-level deck. And the other one that we're not going to talk about in our top 10-ish list here is
Swiftfoot Boots.
okay.
It does the same thing, except it has hexproof.
And
Has
haste. Yeah, so these are in every precon.
Every
Every precon. You can get these for $1 or less, all depending on which version. They are everywhere. So there's like no excuse not to have one of these in your deck. But we want to get over some other ways of doing it. And what we're going to do is we're going to do our number 10 choice here. So our number 10 choice is a 5-way tie. Because they are temporary effects. So we've got Airtight Alibi. Now this has flash, so you can do it as a surprise maneuver. Woohoo, yeah. And then it works with the suspect mechanic. There's also Cradle of Safety, which you get hexproof, and then the enchanted creature gets +1/+1. There is Fflight, same sort of thing, but it's hexproof until end of turn. So this is why we're not overly excited about these. And we also have Mage's Mantle. So if you're doing any of these colors, these might be something that you might want to put into those decks. And it gives it +2/+2 until end of turn. Well, it gives it +2/+2, but it gives it hexproof until end of turn. And the Starlight Mantle, which is a blue card, gives it a +1/+1.
And gives it hexproof
until end of turn. So these are all reasonable. They're okay. They're all under like $1. In fact, many of them are like less than a quarter. So what we want to do is we want to go to our number 9, which all right, come on. It's not doing it. All right, there it goes.
Alpha Authority. It gives it hexproof, and it can't be blocked by more than one creature.
Yeah.
So basically, menace.
Well, not menace, but it's kind of like a backwards menace sort of thing. The nice thing about it is if somebody's got a bunch of 1/1s out there, they can't pile a whole bunch up to take out your commander. But if you've got green in your deck, this Alpha Authority is a really nice way of, giving it hexproof, and on top of that, making it so that they can't gang up on you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so our number 8.
Number 9.
No, our number 8 is Curator's Ward.
This is a very uncommon.
Funny, funny.
Uh, card. It is a enchant permanent. It can enchant anything.
Yeah, you can enchant a land, yeah, an artifact.
A
Yeah,
planeswalker.
yeah, you can enchant anything, and the enchanted permanent has hexproof. But the cool thing about this is what?
When the enchantment permanent leaves the battlefield, if it was historic, you get to draw 2 cards.
So legendaries are historic, artifacts are historic, sagas are historic. So, it gives you some card draw. So if somebody takes out your commander, well, hey, you get a couple extra cards.
So win-win.
Yeah, it's kind of a win-win. So if you're doing anything in blue, this is a good choice. So let's see. Our number 7 is this one right here. Is it colorless? Nope. The color identity on this is blue because of its added ability. So it's Nurok Stealth Suit. It's a 2-drop, 1/1 to equip. So it's really low cost. Gives it hexproof. No, gives it shroud.
Even better.
But the neat thing about it is if you have 2 open blue, you can basically equip this at instant speed.
So basically a counter spell to a sense.
Yeah, in a sense, it's kind of like a counter spell. So if you have this on another creature and somebody targets your commander, you can go, oh, well, in response, you can tap 2 blue, move this stealth suit over, and then you give it shroud, and then all of a sudden, it's protected. So that is our number 7. Now our number 6 is one that's pretty expensive, unfortunately, but we wanted to make sure we had it in here, and it's General's Kabuto.
General's Kabuto. It gives it shroud
And
prevent all combat damage that would be dealt into equipped creature you control.
Yeah, so you can't get any combat damage. Now this is like a $5-6 card. It is pretty expensive. It's kind of out of our budget range for budget decks, but if you run across one of these, especially older ones, this is back in the original Kamigawa. You might find one that's been heavily played, and you can probably get it for a couple of bucks. And it's still sleeve playable. So that's one of the reasons why we wanted to go ahead and keep it in here. All right, our number 5 pick is only for commanders.
Champion's Helm. Equipped creature gets +2. As long as equipped creature is legendary, it has hexproof.
So it's only for legendary creatures. So yeah, if you've got a bunch of other legendary creatures in your deck, then okay, put them on that as well. But it's really for your commander. This is like right around $1, well within budget, and it's a 3-drop, equipped for 1. It's a really nice way of doing it. And it's been in recent precon decks.
Really?
Yeah, that's what that symbol is there. Oh, yeah. All right, so our number 4 is
Mirror Shield. Now you don't see this as often. Equipped creature gets +0/+2 and has hexproof. And whenever a creature with Death Touch blocks or becomes blocked by a creature with Death Touch, destroy that creature. So it doesn't even have
Doesn't have a chance.
Yes.
Yeah. Even if the Death Touch creature has first strike, it doesn't have a chance. It gets destroyed as soon as it blocks or becomes blocked by. So, yeah, this is a really nifty way of getting around those Death Touchers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Rhino's never liked Death Touchers when he's played against them.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Our number card is
Cloak and Dagger. Now this is basically the same thing,
but backwards. Yeah. So you get a +2/+0 and Shroud.
Shroud.
Yeah. Yeah. But the neat thing about it is,
whenever you have a rogue deck, or
a rogue creature that's a rogue.
A creature that's a rogue, you can attach to it.
So you don't have to pay the equip cost on there.
So 3.
Yeah. So if you've got your commander is a rogue, Cloak and Dagger might be really good to put in your deck. It's let's see, yeah, it's right around, hovers right around about $1. It does give it Shroud. You've got to be careful about Shroud, because if you wanted to like use a Rogue's Passage and give it unblockable, you can't do that because it's a target creature and you can't target your own Shrouds. So you got to make sure that you play those rules right. But still, this is really nice, especially for the free equip. So our number 2 is
Mask of Aison. Equip creature gets +2, +1, +2, and it has hexproof.
Now this came out in Commander Legends, or it got reprinted in Commander Legends. So this is generally under $1. It's a good way of protecting, your commander. Yeah, you can have your Swiftfoot Boots in there, but we would highly suggest having one of these in as well. Just if you're concerned about people targeting your commander, this is a way to protect it. And that's it's cheap. They're plentiful. They're all over the place. You can easily get these. In fact, in a lot of cases, I think the bulk of the ones we got is what you call draft chaff. So after people were drafting Commander Legends, they would just leave cards behind. We would collect them up so that we could build decks for new players. Yeah, and so we had like 20 or 30 of these. And we've put them in a bunch of decks that we've given out. Yeah. So now our number 1, can you guess what our number 1 is? And before, go ahead and put that in the comments. What do you think the number 1 is? And if you have another number 1, or if you don't know what to put there, just respond with, would you listen to a judge that is 11 or 12 years old? Because Rhino had a little bit of a hard time with that. So our number 1 is
Whisper Silk Cloak.
Okay. You may look at that and go, oh, wow, isn't that expensive? Well, it depends on which printing. And we just got one for, I think, $2.06. So it's like barely, well, it's above the $2 budget. But
Quick creature can't be blocked and has Shroud.
So what's so cool about this? It can't be blocked, which means commander damage.
Oh, yeah.
So this is one of our favorites. It's in a lot of decks that we've run. A lot of our higher powered decks. When you're doing a mill strategy, when you're doing a commander damage strategy, Whisper Silk Cloak is always at the top of our list. And surprisingly, very few people know about this card. Yeah, a lot of entrenched players do, but we run across a lot of new players to Commander, and they have never heard of this card before, and they always like, oh well, I'm going to block it. No, you can't. You just can't.
Well, I want to target it. No,
no,
you can't.
and I can't either. So, yeah, this is our number one. Yeah, of course, Lightning Greaves is definitely better than this in many respects uh, because of the zero equip cost. But really, yeah, most of our decks, we want to get in for some commander pounding, and Whisper Silk Cloak is number one for us. So, give us a thumbs up. Like it if you like it. And
Um, I have more videos coming out soon. So until then, Rhino out.